Welcome to the second part of Word Module 1 textbook project for practice. I just felt like it was too long to do this in one video. This part will have us insert our picture that we also downloaded from our start with our start file. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that we center this blank line that we left in here. So we're going to click on the center button to center it. And then we're going to insert a picture. Now, even though we got this picture online, we downloaded it to our local machine. So we should only go to pictures to get it. You'll have to navigate wherever it was that you put your picture, whatever folder you put it in. And I think that I put it in here. So there's the picture I want, and I want to click on Insert. And it's really too big. See how it pushes everything to a second page? So the next thing we need to do is to try to do some resizing of this picture and also dress it up a little bit. First and foremost, it's going to have us change our zoom to one page. So if you go to View up here, you can change it to one page. And that's about as good as one page you're going to get there. I know we see 2 pages because it's split to 2 pages. But we need to resize the object proportionately. So what we're going to do is go up here to Picture Tools Format, make sure that's active now. We're going to go to the lower left-hand corner and just drag it until we think it's about the size we want it to be. Okay, I got pretty close. They want it to be 2 inches tall and 3 inches wide. If you look up here in the size group, I just missed it by just a smidge, whatever a smidge is. So you could go up here and just type in, if it's supposed to be 2 inches tall, just type the 2 in. When you tab down, you can just type in the 3, and now you've got it centered and the size that you wanted it to be. Notice now that we're all fitting on one page again, which is a good thing. We want to apply picture style, so we're going to go to Picture Tools Format. I'm sorry, that keeps popping up here. And we have different picture styles, and you can kind of hover over these to see what they're going to do to your picture. Ultimately, we want to choose Snip Diagonal Corner White. So we've pulled down this, let's look for snipped corners. So on the 3rd row of my screen, the first one is Snip Diagonal Corner White. I'm going to click on it. Then it says while we're still selected with the picture, we're going to add a picture effect. So going to Picture Effects menu here next to Picture Styles, we're going to add a shadow. So point at shadows, no shadows, outer shadows, inner shadows, perspective. And we're going to do the perspective upper right. So here's left. And there's perspective upper right. Now let me double check. No, it's supposed to be perspective upper left. I'm sorry. Let's point back at the first one. So you can see where the shadow is to the left as opposed to the right side. Okay, sorry about that. It looked funny, but that's what I thought I read. So I read it wrong. So we're going to do that. We got a little shadow effect now. And we now want to enhance the page some. So we're going to click away from the picture, and the Picture Tools contextual tab disappears. Enhancing the page. Some of the things that you need to think about are what colors are you using? Does it need a page border around the flyer? Would it make it look too busy, or would it offset it and make it look more professional? The space in between your paragraphs and your picture on the page, are they adequate so people can read it easily? Now sometimes we'll load too much on a flyer and then people just can't read the material there because it's just too much to absorb from a flyer. Also, what about color when you're creating your documents? You know, certain colors have certain meanings and help to convey certain messages. Did you ever wonder why McDonald's chose red and yellow as its signature colors? Warm colors tend to make you hungry. Warm colors tend to make you think of being in the kitchen, either preparing the food or maybe eating at the kitchen table, because for the longest time we dressed our kitchens up with bright yellows and some reds and some oranges, and those are all warm colors and they enhance our desire for food, and it looks more interesting and flavorful if our foods look like they're supposed to. So I had a class where I took an art class and they brought in purple mashed potatoes. They couldn't hardly get anybody to taste them. And then the teacher tasted them and said, "These are mashed potatoes. All we did was put purple dye in it." So colors do have a connotation for us. And so they have a list of some colors in your book. In our case, this is where we're going to change our theme colors to blue 2. So go back to design on your ribbon. Don't click on themes. Instead, go over here to the colors, which are theme colors. Choose blue 2, not blue and not blue-green, but blue 2. And you'll notice how it's changed the color layout of what we have selected. But it's what we want to use. Now, what about adding a page border? Alright, while we're still in the design tab, we have page borders at the very end of this ribbon, page background, group, page borders. They want us to use, and I've always got to look to see which ones they're using here. Click the box settings, so we'll choose box. And the style that they want us to use from the bottom of the style list. So we'll just scroll to the bottom, and then it looks like they have selected the third one from the bottom. Now you'll see a diagram here and the color is automatically that shade, but we're going to see if we're going to change the color here, which I hope we do. So we got the pull down list arrow for the colors, and they want us to choose turquoise accent 3 darker 25%, 7th color in the 5th row. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Hover over it to make sure it says turquoise. I may have gone too far. Okay, let me double check here. 7th color in the 5th row. That looks like it's supposed to be that color. Now, once we've selected that, we click on OK, and we've got our border. Now, spacing before and after some of our paragraphs. By default, if we go to the Home tab here for a second, and we just click somewhere where there's some text, you might notice in the paragraph group there is this button with up and down arrows next to lines. Right now, there's no line above, but there is by default some space between after each of our lines. Okay? So we're going to see if we can't modify some of the spacing that we use. I'm just going to escape out of that menu. Instead, what we want to do is we're going to go to the Layout tab on the ribbon, because we have a little bit easier control here in the paragraph group for the Layout tab. So first and foremost, they want us to click the spacing. Let's see where I'm at supposed to be first. Let's make sure we're in the right location first. So we want to be the paragraph containing the word how. So we want to make sure we're starting here, and then we're going to take off you just hit the down arrow key to get to 0, so you don't have that extra spacing between how and the number 1 2 3. Going to do the same thing for when. And again, we want to do this as much as we need to get to 0 for the after. Now, put our cursor in our signature line. So down here where it says visit, we need a little extra space above to separate it from the bulleted list. They want us to use 12 point. So we're going to use 12 point before. And do they have us remove the other? Let's see. No, it doesn't look like they have us move it. Okay. It does say if we go to 2 pages, which you shouldn't if we did everything correctly, that you might adjust that spacing a little bit so everything pulls to a page. But because we want Sam to kind of grade this for us, we might want to try to make sure it's going to fit according to the instructions. Changing the document properties. To do that, you have to go to your File menu. So we're going to go over here to File. And in the Properties group for Info, there is a place to add comments. There's a place to add a title that we didn't do. For our purposes, we're going to click in that comment box. Now, they don't have our class named correctly here. It's CIS 101 assignment. Make sure you use proper capitalization there. CIS 101 assignment. For a long time, we were CIS 100, so that's where they've got it. Excuse me. Now we just click on the back button. That becomes part of your saved document, so let's click on the save button. Now, to close a document, we just go to File and we come down to Close. Now we're still in Word, so you know the next thing they're going to have you do is open the document. At least I hope so. So we're going to go to File and we're going to go to Open, and you may find it in a recent under Today. You may find yours right here. I have to look to see exactly where it's going into and from. Or if you don't see it here, you can just browse for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and browse for it. And I'm going to locate, in my case, I was putting it on my flash drive in my Word folder. So there's my file that I want to open. So I open it up. And now I'm back to using that same document I was working on before. And we're going to insert text into the existing document. So we want to go through the document and find the words with clean running water and apply soap. So that first numbered item under How, we want to click in front of the A for apply. And we want to add the word then, T-H-E-N. Make sure you put a space there between them. And you've gone through this and you're thinking, okay, and then apply soap. It's one of those other words that sometimes, to be more concise, you cut it. And you could just jump up here and do an undo, but they want to pretend that you've done several steps since then. So how do I get rid of this? I double click on the word, and then I can hit the delete key on the keyboard. I can right click on the word. I can get my right click to go here. And I'm not seeing delete there. You can cut it. So that's another way to get rid of it. I'm not sure how they wanted you to do it. Cut. They wanted you to cut it. Okay. Now, copying and pasting. Scroll so that you can see all of the numbered list items. Well, we can see them all. And we want to select the word clean from the first bullet. So just double click on it to select it. And we want to click on the copy button. That's the little 2 pieces of paper on the clipboard group of our Word program. And I'm just going to copy it. And then I want to scroll down to where I'm supposed to place it. So in number 5, dry hands well using a towel. And they want us to put clean in front of towel. So I'm going to click in front of the word towel. I'm going to paste that with the paste button. And notice how it automatically puts the space for me from that point. Okay, so we put that word in and we pasted it. And if you want to look at this paste options button, you will see that we've kept the source formatting, or we could just merge it together, mixing two formats together, treat it only as a picture. Well, you want it to be Word. See, when you do a picture, it's like it pushes it down. And then you have the keep text only. So it actually did the first one for us. We'll just hit the escape key until that goes away. Now, we want to move some text in the bulleted list. We realize that we probably have some of these things out of order. So they want you to highlight or select with your selector tool the second bullet. Then you're going to point at that and drag an insertion bar up to the first bullet in front of the A for after eating, coughing. When you let go of the mouse button, it switches them around. It pushes the other one down and puts the other one above it. So we've moved text. Now, I'm just going to click somewhere to deselect that. The next thing they have you do, I despise. I'll just tell you up front, I despise the read mode. Down here on your status bar for your views is read mode. And this would be, if you had several pages, you could go go to the next page, go to the previous page. But it's really silly to do it here with this document because it really all fits on your screen already. You can change the view. You can edit the document here. I would not recommend it. You can change the page color, sepia, or some people like to do the reverse color, inverse. I don't recommend that either, not to turn into Sam. Sam will have a cow. So let's go back to page color, and I'm just going to choose none here. Now, how do I get back to my normal view? Well, if we go to, we don't have to do it there. If you go down to your status bar, you can switch back to print layout mode, and you're back to your normal, what I consider to be the normal view. Save it. Now, they talk about how to print this document. To save paper, we're not going to print, but I do want to kind of indicate or show you how the process works, okay? So I would go, you may have added to your quick access toolbar earlier, print preview and print, or the quick print. You can also go to file and get the print preview. So I'm going to use the print preview button there. Well, I thought I was, I accidentally turned it off. Sorry, clicked the wrong spot. Print preview. Let's turn it on again. And I can see all my settings here. And I can see that I have page 1 of 1 that I could print. And you would normally just click on your print button. If you wanted more than one copy, you could do the number of copies and then print. Always check to see what printer you're going to. So if you want to print this in color, if you're finished with it and you want to print it not in grayscale, black and white, then you might want to change this to, say, a color printer. This would be my color printer here. Okay? I'm going to leave it on my Wombat. And then you just click the print button. I'm going to step back out of that. And they talk a little bit about using word help and the tell me box. Up here where it says tell me what you want to do, next to the light bulb, used to be a little magnifying search button instead. So let's just type in margins. We just want to see margins. And I just want to get help on margins, so I'll go down here. And I have a little sub menu here as to what it is I want to get help on. And I think they have in here, as an example here, the first topic is set or change margins and page margins in Word. And they just show you the help dialog box or taskbar. This is a taskbar actually, to show you what you can do and how to get help on specific things that you're working with. We're finished with it, so we're going to close this little button to close out the little task pane. They have you sent out of your account. Don't do that. Okay. Now, we are ready to save this for the final time, and we're going to upload it to Sam. Now, I'm going to make a couple of boo-boos. I'm not going to italicize the word prevent. And I'm going to try to misspell a word here. Okay? You don't make these boo-boos. These are mine and mine alone. And you always want to close out your document before you try to upload it. So let me minimize this down for a second, and we go to the continue button where we started off inside of our project in Cengage, MindTap Cengage. Click on the click here or drag and drop. Navigate to where you have your file. Boy, that's totally not in the right place there. Okay, go into Word if that's what you created, and then select the actual document. It needs to match the Ready to Submit name. We don't see the .docx by default, so don't ever type it in there. And then we're just going to scroll down and click on the Submit button. You may not have to scroll, but I do. We got check marks across the board. We're going to click on View Reports. You'll have to save your report. The first time you run through this, it'll have a 1. So it's your first attempt. Now, you can open that up. Now, I'm going to take my zoom control up just a little bit so you can see how I did. Uh-oh. Well, I never did fix this of here, and I think I just skipped over it in the book, so I may have made you skip it too. My prevent should be formatted using italic. When I come down here, it shows me a sample of what I needed to fix. Should be italic. Okay. The incorrect text off of should be corrected to off. See, it's flagging here. But I believe it is up above here. Okay. Here we go, step 4. I was supposed to get rid of that. Now I'm not in my real document. I'm in the report, but I need to get rid of that word. My mistake. I'm curious to know why it didn't catch my extra S in assisting. It normally does. And prevent obviously should be italicized. So I could, if I've got a lot of these, I could minimize it down and open it back up again, but I think I can figure them out. So I'm going to close out my report, and I need to go to my actual file. And I'm going to drag it in over here. The actual file, open up the original document that I had. I don't have to go get a new start file, just open up the one I have. Oops, wrong section. Sorry about that. Took me to the wrong place. There we are. And we'll go into Word. Now I'm going to make this big enough so I can see it. Don't try to do it in the report. Do it in the original file. I am going to select the word prevent and italicize it. And then we're going to get rid of the word of in step 4. And whatever reason it didn't catch that, I caught it myself because I put it in there myself. And now that I've fixed those mistakes, I'm going to save it again, and I'm going to resubmit for a second go around. You get 3 attempts to try to improve your grade. So I still only have 1 copy of that file. I'm going to minimize that down for now. I'm going to have to go back in. I can't just back up in here, so I have to close this out and go back in from Blackboard to my Word Module 1 SAM textbook project, launch it, now it's going to show that I did 1 attempt and I've got 2 remaining, okay? So it shows what I did here, and I could review it. I could get to my report this way. But I'm going to start a new attempt. It gives you all the same information. I want to upload my file now. and it should have the corrections made, and submit it. View my report this time. It is now report 2. Make sure you open up report 2 if you have to do this. And here's report 2 coming up. And yay, we got 100 out of 100. All the little check marks. And of course there's nothing there that's flagging our sample. Alright, now this is how to do the textbook projects that kind of helped you out there. And I'm just going to close that out because I don't need it. And my next little section will be how you get started with your actual graded projects. But I'm going to do a little short one for that.